Hello everyone and welcome back. This is Sleep here, and today I'm here to talk about the brand new Pokemon game, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. The Pokemon series has been a series I've kept up with for a very long time within my life, and it's one I've gotten into when I was pretty young. But with some recent releases, I've been kind of let down by the series, and have decided to go into different series such as Persona or Shin Megami Tensei to hopefully fulfill that itch for an RPG series I can consistently get into. Well, here I am years later after the disappointment that's Pokemon Sword and Shield and some of the spin-offs within the Shin Megami Tensei series, and I'm hoping to find something that kind of grabs me and pulls me back into the Pokemon series. I played Pokemon Legends Arceus earlier this year, and I was like, wow, this is a really cool step forward for the Pokemon series. And when I saw they were kind of adding a lot of that stuff implemented from that game into this one, with a brand new gen and brand new Pokemon, I was really excited to see what they would do with it. Well, let's talk about what this game does to improve over previous games, and talk about what this game fixes over like Pokemon Sword and Shield and such. Well, let's talk about the overall structure of this game. I really enjoy the open world format, and I really feel like it pushes the series forward in a really fun way. The exploration is super cool, and brings a lot of individuality to the experiences between players. Like how I approach this game is completely different than how my friends approach this game. And it was really cool to talk about like what each other did, and like what was the different routes and Pokemon they encountered on their journey that really made the whole campaign a completely different experience for them. And it was just really cool. I think this aspect got extremely boosted this generation too, with the addition of co-op multiplayer, where I had my friends on completely different sides of the map talk about different Pokemon they're encountering and being like, oh, you wanted this kind of Pokemon? You should come over here. And so you'd fly over and like meet up with them, and they'd show you like the Pokemon, and it was just a really cool experience that really brought a lot of that social element that Pokemon really benefits from to the game. I think it also probably helped that the main campaign story was actually really awesome this time around, and there was a lot of variety to the goals that you're doing, instead of just doing specifically gyms or some like off-kilter weird generation specific thing. Like there's basically 3 different stories you could focus on, and this would just mix up how the game was played in a really cool way, and adds a lot of replay value to the game, despite a couple of issues that we'll get to later. I think something that also really helped this game was the fact that the designs this time were actually good, unlike Sword and Shield that had some of the worst Pokemon designs in the entire series. I fucking love this new generation, and personally speaking, I think this new generation of Pokemon in terms of designs are up there with Black and White for me. I really love the way they twisted some of the older designs for Pokemon in this generation, and really did something unique and creative with them. Some of these new Pokemon designs are fucking crazy, but I really like them. Like they have this really cool Kamen Rider bug like chainsaw thing, and it's one of the coolest Pokemon in all of Pokemon in my opinion. I really love the starters and their evolutions too. Like I think every starter got really good evolutions, aside from like Fuecoco. I think Fuecoco got the worst in terms of the final starter designs, but I think the other 2 did really well. Some other highlights in this generation for me were Mousehold, which is just like a family of mice that are really cool. The new Ghost Sword and Armor Pokemon, it's really cool. It reminds me a lot of like Mega Man, and I really enjoy the designs of them. And probably my favorite from this generation so far in terms of like non-starter Pokemon is easily the new Mudkip variation evolution in this game. It's just like, it's so fucking goofy, but I love him. Also, I absolutely love the legendaries for this game. They have a lot of personality, and with the story kind of progressing, you get to really bond with them, and while you ride on them, they kind of evolve and upgrade and gain these new abilities that makes traversal just so much more fun and intriguing to engage in. Something that's going really underappreciated for this gen from a lot of the people that are criticizing it are a lot of the new quality of life changes to basic parts of the series, along with competitive, such as ability patches, which basically allow you to get new abilities on any Pokemon, and the new item Mirror Herb, allowing for you to transfer egg moves to brand new Pokemon, which basically enables you to transform any Pokemon you want into a competitively viable Pokemon, allowing you to bring in those like really cool shinies you hunted for into competitive play. And it's just really awesome to be able to show off like that. Like this game is super accessible for people who want to get into the competitive scene, with them adding in stuff like buyable bottle caps from stores, where you can just buy them with money, allowing you to get those max IV mons a lot quicker. It's a lot more helpful and less grindy and less reliant on end of season rewards like in Sword and Shield with their own bottle cap system with the weird LP system. There is a bit of a stain on the competitive accessibility of this game though, thanks to the terrestrialization mechanic that essentially allows you to change your Pokemon's type along with getting a boost to certain moves depending on what type you are. The main problem with this mechanic is changing your Pokemon's terrestrialization type. Essentially, for you to change the typing, you have to go to the specific restaurant within one of the cities where you're able to change your Pokemon's terrestrialization type only if you shill over 50 Terra Shards, which are only able to be gained through the raid system, which is currently super buggy and doesn't give that much Terra Shards per raid. In terms of competitive grind, for you to change the Terra type of every single Pokemon on your team, you're gonna have to shill over about 7 hours of grinding. That is really unacceptable and a really annoying barrier of entry for anyone who wants to get into competitive Pokemon. This basically invalidates a lot of the quality of life changes they made towards that end of Pokemon, and really undoes a lot of that goodwill people may have gained in terms of helping the competitive Pokemon scene. This is far from the only issue that plagues this game, as there's a lot of legitimate criticisms towards the game that I could levy towards it. Like, let's talk about how the game has really bad stuttering and frame issues currently, and how the game probably should have been delayed a bit so the core of the experience wasn't so overshadowed by bugs and constant frame issues. That and really weird lighting and pop-in issues that just make the game look really ugly, especially towards the final area that feels very incomplete and kind of garbage dog shit, even in comparison to the rest of the game. I feel like there's a lot of fundamental problems with the game too, like how the game doesn't scale gyms, bosses, or team encounters, so it feels like you're strung along on a certain path, despite the game advertising it wanting to have a more open design. And despite me being excited for a lot of the evolution from Legends Arceus being carried over, there are a couple things that weren't carried over that I was really disappointed by them not being here, such as the new catching mechanic from Legends Arceus, or the new way shinies were presented, where you could hit this little flicker or sound in your ear so you'd know that there was a shiny nearby, and so that you wouldn't miss it. The game doesn't really have that audio or visual indicator for shinies like how they were handled in Legends Arceus, and so visually impaired people and fans in general have kind of suffered because of it. I do want to note that there was some changes to shinies with the new sandwich system, along with a returning outbreak system that makes shinies even more common than Legends Arceus, but it still doesn't excuse these exclusions. But that aside, I do want to quickly note how I feel like the game has been somewhat misrepresented to be worse than it actually is on a player-to-player basis, with people on Twitter acting like certain bugs are a lot more common than they actually are. Like, there's definitely been bugs I've ran into, but they aren't as common as Twitter likes to make them out to be. I've actually recorded a couple of them just because I thought a lot of them were funny, and I think it'd be really funny to share them with you. Here's a quick compilation.
Get you out of here. I promise you, I'm gonna get you out of there. You don't belong in there. I'm gonna get you out.
Despite all these bugs, this game is still super fun to me, and I've had a blast with the game, and I hope for the DLC and future Pokemon games to address this bug and improve on this brand new formula. I think Pokemon's going somewhere super special, and I hope next time they just get it down right, and they have a more proper release, with the game being released in a better state, and hopefully this will allow people to really engage with the new experience Pokemon is trying to deliver, because I personally find the new experience of Pokemon to be super great. But that's all I really wanted to cover today. Those are just my thoughts on Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. If you guys have any thoughts, leave them down below. I would love to hear your guys' opinions on the game and your personal experiences with them. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment, or subscribe down below. I'm currently aiming for that 10,000 subscriber mark, and I really think we could get there soon. Any support is just really greatly appreciated. This has been Sleep, and thank you for watching. I hope to see you next time, and see ya!